Obsessive thoughts, intrusive thoughts, negative thinking, rumination, anxiety, something we all go through. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys how I cope with it. My name is Noah, and in this video we'll just tackle those topics, what I do to deal with it, get better from it, overcome it, and hopefully you'll find something that can be of use to you here. It's a pretty common question that I get from viewers. How do you deal with your overwhelming ruminating thoughts? A lot of people watch this channel suffer from anxiety. I suffer from it as well. And so negative rumination, especially negative self-talk and obsessive thinking, it's pretty common amongst us mental health folk. And I suppose that'd be pretty common amongst most people. I used to spin a lot about my depression, my anxiety. I'd wonder if it would ever end, and I would ask myself that question 1,000 times a day. An unanswerable question, right? You can't know when it's going to end or how it's going to end or when you're going to feel better. All you can do is focus on where you're at, and it made things worse. But the moment I let go and just trusted the process, it got easier, and you win and lose some of those battles. More recently, I was dealing with more like, where am I in life? Do I feel good with who I am and what I'm doing? Am I successful? Am I someone I can be proud of? How does the world see me? Am I a failure? Am I a loser? And I started doing that when I noticed a lot of people in my life graduating college. I always had this idea of how that worked and what made people good or bad. Silly primal thinking, but stuff I'm working through. And it made me spin, and I made a video about it. And it was really uncomfortable. And I had myself so anxious about it that I almost felt suicidal. One of the most important things I ever did when it came to obsessive thinking was understanding that the thought does not equate to any reality of the feeling. Thoughts and feelings are separate, and that we can't control what we think. I think there was a big relief when someone finally said, hey, try not to take it so personal. We all have random thoughts. We can't control what we think. What we can control is how we react to those thoughts. Maybe you've heard that before, and you can get better at your reaction, because sometimes you think some stupid shit, very uncomfortable shit, and it'll make you feel bad, and you can't get around that. You really can't. It's going to make you feel bad, but it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean your thoughts are correct or true. And so when I started realizing that, okay, everyone has random thoughts, negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts, self-deprecating thoughts, but none of us can control it in general. It just, things happen. You pop up. That was a relief. I was like, okay, I'm powerless over it. So that also led me to the next thing I'll say, which is don't try to fight it so hard. Don't spend your whole day trying not to think about something. Usually when you try not to think about something, what happens? You think about it more. And so that was another thing, is I try to let it be free-flowing. I believe you might call that mindfulness. Let the thought come, but I try not to attach emotion or depth or weight to it. I try not to draw any conclusions about myself or the world over something that I don't fully understand. It's just a thought. And so that way it can come in and go out. The less I fight, the easier it becomes to not let them in, and the faster they leave. And I mean that. You just have to try to let it happen. It's easier if you let it happen. Another thing that I like to do is I like to reach out to people who I trust and admire. People that I look up to. I think it's really important not to try to conquer your own head with your own mind. I made a video about this saying your broken mind can't fix your sick brain or something like that. And I really believe in this. I think people that try to self-treat, self-diagnose too much tend to run circles around themselves. It's a problem. So I have people I look up to. I have mentors. I have professionals in my life. I have close friends and family. And when I start to become too much for myself, I reach out to them. I get out of myself. I trust them. So I think it's really important to gain perspective from people you look up to. They're out there, find them, and just be vulnerable, be blunt and say, I don't know how to deal with this, and ask them how they dealt with it. Getting this team aspect is really, really helpful. Another thing that might sound self-explanatory, yet you wouldn't believe how many people struggle with this, is maintaining some sort of structure in my day. When I'm spinning the most, typically, it's just when I don't have anything to do. And I try to make sure that when I am doing something, I'm doing something that is of value or of use to me or others. So I like to read. I like to work on YouTube videos. I like to reply to comments. I really love to exercise. And then I schedule appointments, and I just try to stay busy with positive activities. I think idle time is dangerous time, especially for the ruminating person, for those who suffer from anxiety and depression. So make yourself busy. Force yourself to become more active and more busy and engage in what you're doing. Focus on what you're doing. Be mindful of what you're doing, and you'll find that those ruminating thoughts come less and less and less. Here's another little side tip for me that really works well. I can't lay in bed too long. I think that shit is like disastrous for someone who's actively ruminating. Obviously, if I'm in a pretty stable, peaceful place, I don't mind laying in bed a little bit in the morning, but my general routine requires me to get up quick. I think some of the worst times for me is like late at night and early in the morning. So I have a nighttime routine that usually helps me get to bed relatively quickly. Holler at that. And then in the morning, I try to pop up. try to pop up and engage in what I'm doing and focus on what I'm doing. So that really helps. As I'll also say stuff like fire the committee. There's a committee in my head, and it's none of my business. So I'll say, fire the committee. Like, I'll just say it under my breath, or it's none of your business. Like, what you're thinking. You can't control what you're thinking. We all have just random thoughts. So it's none of my business. Who cares? It's very uncomfortable when you're like obsessing and spinning. Depending on what you're obsessing about, it can be more uncomfortable. And sometimes you have to ride that discomfort. There's no easy way around it. I wish there was. There are some people that are more enlightened and more developed than others, and they're going to work through it better and quicker. But everyone can make progress. Everyone can try some of the things I've said, and there's so much more great information out there. So just look it up and be willing to actually do what you read. But I will end it with this. I will say that it gets better. Things change. Whatever random obsessive thought came in and started fucking your head up, it will leave. It really will. And so there is some peace of mind knowing that this won't last forever. And you're not going to spin about this forever. And you're not going to be in misery about it forever. And if you can daily put forth some action that's going to be beneficial towards your mental health, towards your rumination, towards your well-being, it'll speed that process up. But if you did even nothing, I truly believe that in general, you would change. And I have learned not to trust that darkness and trust that negative feeling and those hopeless thoughts and then just whatever I'm ruminating and spinning about. So don't get me wrong, I know how severe this shit can get. But I've started to ramble. I just hope you know that it gets better. And I hope you heard something here that made a difference for you. And I hope you feel you can share in the comments below, because I love learning from you guys. I love it. Some of the best stuff I've ever learned about mental health, myself, life, I learned from you guys. I don't take that shit for granted. I think that's amazing. So please, in the comments below, please write some things that have worked for you if I didn't mention them. And just know that I believe in you, I care about you, and I hope you're doing okay. I hope you get through whatever it is you're spinning about. Yeah, we'll get through it together. It's a little Big No-No community. It's my channel name. Big No-No is my nickname. And I value you guys very much. Just know that. So 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time. Hang in there, guys. We'll do another video soon. I appreciate you. I look forward to reading your comments, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.